All right. Hello, guys. Today we've been talking all about penguins. And for this next little part, we're going to be doing a science experiment. So you were given or sent home with a paper that looks just like this. So this would be a great time for you to go ahead and grab that. You're also going to need a orange crayon, a white crayon, a black crayon, and some water, like a cup of water of some kind. My water is going to look a little colorful. That way you guys can kind of see what we're doing and it shows up. But we're going to talk about a different adaptation that the penguins have. So you might have learned about a few of them already, and we did mention this one as well. But we're going to talk about the feathers on a penguin and what that has to do with their adaptation and how they, or why they have this. So the feathers on a penguin are a little bit different than feathers of other birds. A penguin has this oily texture that is on their feathers. They have this that way they can glide through the water a little bit easier, but it also helps with keeping their feathers dry. If you think about it, penguins would want their stuff to be dry because it's cold. So if that's what you were thinking, then you might have been right. But we want to make sure, or penguins want to make sure that their feathers are staying dry with that cold temperature so they don't freeze. So they have like this oily texture to their feathers. And this experiment is going to kind of show you how they stay dry. Okay. So I already did mine, and we are going to take some time and you're going to color this penguin. Okay. You want to make sure that you, really get in there. And I know you can't really tell, but I did color the white section with white crayon. I know you might be thinking, why would I need to color white with white? Because the crayon is going to represent, or the wax of the crayon is going to represent that oily texture of the feathers for that penguin. Okay. So that part is really important because if you don't color in that white section, then your paper is just going to get wet and it's not going to work. All right. So you want to make sure that you color all parts of your penguin. It doesn't really matter what color you color those parts. If you want to color them blue, it doesn't really matter. I just made mine look like a real penguin. So you want to make sure you get really in there and that there's hardly any paper parts that are showing. So we always like to say no white spaces. So get as much of that colored in as you can. And then what you're going to do is, I'm going to see if I can do it this way. You're going to take your penguin and your water here, and you're going to take little drops. You can use a straw, you can use just your fingers, but you want to lightly drop the water on our penguin. Now, if you notice, the water is not just straight seeping through the paper. Our paper is not really looking like it's wet or anything. That water is just collecting on top of that crayon. Ooh, that's a good one. Do you see those bubbles right there? Those bubbles are nice and formed. So we can see that all over our penguin. It's collecting and not soaking through. That is exactly what happens to a real penguin. The water just kind of glides right off. And I can even take my paper and start to kind of shake it. And you see how those beads and those droplets start to fall off. And you can even notice here that the paper looks more wet than it does up here. And that is the same effect as a penguin. So now you can go ahead and try, but of course, make